Hello, and welcome to my contest entry. Warherd is a competitive two-player tabletop war game set in a steampunk fantasy world populated by nations of fantastical creatures at war. First, let's look at a unit card, which displays all the information a player needs to use its figures in their army. Health shows how much damage the figure can suffer before being slain. MV shows its movement in inches, and the unit class is its type. These two blocks display the figure's weapons. Each has a type icon, name, rate of fire, range, and grid that shows its effectiveness against each unit class. Each unit also has abilities. Finally, these three values are used in army building and won't be covered in this video. Armies also consist of unit upgrades, war engines, assets, and a champion leader. Champions receive command points when they activate, which they can spend to use the abilities on their command card. To start a game, both players choose their armies, select a mission, set up the terrain, and alternate deploying their units. They then roll off to determine who starts with the initiative token, and whoever finished deploying first gets a bonus to their roll. Each game round is divided into 3 phases. In the champion phase, players alternate activating their champions. In the army phase, players alternate activating their other units. In the status phase, players check for victory conditions and score victory points. When a unit activates, each of its figures one at a time performs any one of 3 orders. Advance allows a figure to move up to its MV and attack with one weapon. Sprint allows a figure to move up to double its MV, while Charge allows a figure to make a charge move at a visible enemy and perform a more powerful melee attack. Units can spread out as much as they like, but if a unit's weapon upgrade is slain, a nearby teammate can pick it up. An infantry figure is engaged if it's in range of an enemy's melee weapon. It can't shoot and can only move directly towards one of those enemies and attack, unless it risks withdrawing. When a figure attacks, it chooses one of its weapons and selects a visible enemy in range. A figure is visible to another if it can draw an imaginary line between the closest points of their bases without crossing a wall or other figures with an equal or larger size base. This Capron targets the Stormtrooper with her quad rifle and rolls a d20, then compares the result to a weapon's stat block. The enemy's a trooper, so she needs a 12+. The Capron rolls above her weapon's anti-trooper rating, and the Stormtrooper suffers 1 damage. It only has 1 health, so it is slain. If this Capron attacked the Grenadier suit, Steamwalker, or Trooper in cover, its target number would be different. Also, if an attack rolls a 20 or is at least 7 more than its target number, it does 2 damage. Some weapons use templates and can hit multiple enemies. To make these attacks, place the template and roll to attack each figure under it separately, starting from whoever is closest. Each unit can only be activated once per round. When a player has no more units left to activate, he or she must pass. Whoever passes first in the army phase gets the initiative token, and a player may pass early to take it from their opponent. Most battlefields consist of building tiles, whose interior is treated as open ground while the walls block line of sight and movement, as well as covered terrain tiles and low walls, which grant infantry greater protection from ranged attacks. During initial testing, one of the biggest problems I faced was the ease in which players could use the walls of building tiles and the line of sight mechanics to hide units, which greatly slowed the pace of the game and forced upon players several rules for the placement of objectives and terrain. The ability to control objectives through indestructible walls that block line of sight made it difficult to claim them, while an objective inside a building was difficult to contest without this rule. This presented a challenge, as most war games use indestructible 3D scenery or representative terrain. To overcome this issue, I developed the game's most unique mechanic, breaching. When a figure attacks, it can choose to attack a visible point on a wall in range, treating the wall as if it were a heavy trooper. For example, this Rocketeer is going to use its attack to try and breach the wall. It rolls above its weapon's anti-heavy trooper rating of 9+ and the wall is breached. A rebel tile is centered on the point the figure attacked, which is treated as another opening that the rest of his squad can use to enter and clear the room. This system now discourages turtling, as a player who bunches their units in a corner might find themselves attacked through a breach. The destructible terrain allows a player to shape the battlefield to their evolving strategy in order to do anything from opening a path for a squad to escape, create an opening for melee units to make a surprise attack, or open firing lanes for the army's mighty war engines. Several abilities are also able to interact with walls. Each champion has a command that affects them, while other abilities and asset cards may allow a unit to place down reinforced barricades or murder holes. All are as simple as rolling a die or placing a token on the section of the wall you wish to affect. The combination of these mechanics have enabled the game to stand out in the genre and provide players with a deep tactical experience with only a fraction of the genre's usual complexity.